so it makes a lot of sense.
Aussie bonds, Aussie bonds, Aussie bonds, Aussie bonds, the saving bonds, backed by Australia. Aussie bonds, Aussie bonds.
You can really go to town in the mall. It's the one place you can get anything at all. You get the feeling you can try it all, buy it all. Why it's all because there's nothing like Rundle Mall anywhere at all. You can really go to town in the mall.
Don't miss the spectacular Easter Parade this Friday night between 7 and 8 in Rundle Mall.
If there are just not enough hours in your day,
I didn't keep dinner hot for you.
a Tandy computer system can do more than help your business go ahead with reduced costs, increased profits, fewer worries, and no bottlenecks. A Tandy computer system can give you time on your hands. Talk to Tandy. They solve problems for people like you.
Some people change when they get behind the wheel. But you don't have to hide behind a brave face. At the first opportunity, get out. Don't drive with Mr. Hyde.
What are you doing? What is it, son? Come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah.
The moment you step on board the train, getting there is half the fun.
Greyhound's event of events, the $40,000 Claridge Adelaide Gold Cup final is on Thursday, the 28th of March. There'll be entertainment for everyone. Hurdy-gurdy and Ferris wheel rides for the kids, Free Row Valley wine tasting for the adults, and the first 500 people will get free drink vouchers, plus free competitions for both kids and adults. 2 BMX bikes to be won, and a brand new Mitsubishi Colt valued at $8,000, courtesy of Adrian Eustace Mitsubishi. Everyone will be a winner at Angle Park on the 28th of March.
I love shopping at the Central Market and Victoria Square Shopping Centre this time of the year. Everything is brighter, the bargains even better. Can't you just smell it? Beautiful garden fresh fruit and veggies. And honestly, you can get just about anything at the Central Market Square. Meat, fish, poultry, continental foods, flowers, gifts, jewellery. Nearly 200 shops and stores offering variety and real value. The Central Market and Victoria Square Shopping Centre. I'll see you there.
Because your home needs strong protection, because you need cooperation should you ever make a claim, Co-op Insurance Services. The right insurance, the right cooperation.
Start to play with.
A case history, no. A family story.
This house nearly killed a family. This time it wouldn't fail.
What's happening to us?
Amityville 2, The Possession. A shocking first release, 8:30 Tuesday, 7.
In the name of God.
7.
this hospital, only one doctor can save your life. But first, she's got to save her own. Coma, a chilling adults-only movie. 8:30 Thursdays.
Yes, heaven's great. Let's all be there.
Good morning. A mysterious gas leak and explosion leveled a building at the famous Los Angeles Farmers Market on Sunday. 21 people were hurt, 2 of them critically. An explosion at a famous shopping area in Los Angeles. Our top story today, Monday, March the 25th, 1985.
From NBC News, this is Today with Bryant Gumbel and Jane Pauley.
Good morning, everybody. I am certainly not Bryant Gumbel, and the fellow next to me is certainly not Gene Pauley. I don't think anyone could make that mistake this morning.
I've got twin speakers at home, but that's about all I've got. How are you, John? Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Fine, Willard. Nice to have you with it. It's, I think, a time to point out that Bryant is away on special assignment, and Jane Pauley is a little bit under the weather this morning. I'm John Palmer again, and Willard Scott is here. Gene Shalit will be along just a few minutes coming up in our program. We have lots of good material to work with. The man who directed Ghostbusters will be here. Jim Brown has a report on those old movie serials, and during this half hour of Today, we'll concentrate on the Mideast and the deteriorating situation in Lebanon as we talk with a representative of both sides. But first, as usual, to the news desk and more on that explosion in Los Angeles from Bob Jameson. Bob, good morning.
Thank you, John. Good morning. Los Angeles fire officials believe they have now accounted for everyone caught in that crowded department store when it exploded. At least 21 people were injured, 2 of them critically. Authorities are still fighting the fires touched off by the gas explosion. Frank Burkholzer reports.
It was as though a wicked witch had cast an evil spell. Sidewalks burning, stone walls burning, long into the night. Teams of special investigators tried to analyze the mysterious gas that seeped up from the earth below. Gas that earlier in the day had caused an explosion in a discount clothing store. Windows were broken in stores throughout the shopping center in the Fairfax district of Los Angeles, which was crowded with Sunday shoppers. More than 20 people were injured by flying glass, falling objects, and the very force of the blast itself. Rescue workers ignored the eerie gas fires to search through the rubble of the blown-up building for possible additional victims. In the basement of another store, the Kmart, foul-smelling water was discovered, bubbling with gas that firemen feared might cause another explosion.
It's building up a level such that it still presents a very clear danger as far as it possibly exploding.
Until the source of the escaping gas could be traced, fire department authorities decided the best course was to let the sidewalks burn. Frank Burkholzer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
An American Army officer has been shot and killed by a Soviet guard in East Germany. U.S. officials won't discuss details of the incident. The American officer was attached to the U.S. military liaison mission to East Germany. The Army is withholding the dead officer's name and says it is discussing the seriousness of the incident with Soviet authorities. President Reagan and his chief arms negotiator, Max Kampelman, joined today in a final push to try and save the MX missile. The controversial weapons system faces a make-or-break vote in the House tomorrow, and a last-minute bid by opponents to defeat the missile is gaining ground. Kampelman, brought home from Geneva, will spend today lobbying from one end of Pennsylvania Avenue to the other, with both sides saying tomorrow's vote will be very, very close. There was new violence reported between blacks and police in South Africa this morning, but no new deaths. 29 blacks have died since Thursday, 3 of them in clashes with police Sunday. Michael Burke of the BBC reports from South Africa's Eastern Cape provinces.
After 4 days of violence, the day began quietly. People streamed out of the townships of Langa and Kwanabuhle to their jobs in the white towns nearby like any other Monday. But today, both townships were surrounded by police roadblocks. Casper armored vehicles patrolled the streets. Evidence of more burning and looting smoldered on into the morning. This, a bakery destroyed overnight. Even as police reported everything peaceful, the violence flared again. Most adults had gone to work. The children remained behind, taunted the police, and were dispersed with tear gas. No new injuries were reported, though today local white liberals, like provincial councillor Molly Blackburn, said blacks were too frightened to go to hospital. The violence here has been fueled by liquor. Bottle stores in the townships continue to be broken into, looted and wrecked. By today, most of the store's contents have been removed and used in street drinking bouts. It seems generally quieter now in the Eastern Cape. Whether this is the hangover of violence or a pause before more remains to be seen. This is Michael Burke for NBC News in South Africa.
Iraq and Iran continued to bombard each other's capitals today. Iraq staged an air raid against Tehran. There was no immediate report of casualties. Iran launched a missile attack on Baghdad. There were reports from the Iraqi capital of a big pre-dawn explosion. In this country, union opposition is growing this morning to the tentative agreement that could end the month-long Pan Am strike. The airline and the union representing ground workers reached the tentative pact during the weekend. But this morning, some union leaders are urging the rank and file to reject the contract because it is less than Pan Am offered before the strike. In Chicago today, a court may decide whether the Cubs can tamper with tradition. The Cubs have always played baseball the way Abner Doubleday intended it, in the sunshine, in a beautiful park, right in the middle of a city neighborhood. But the Cubs want to change that by installing lights. Lights in Wrigley Field. Mary Nissenson reports on this important controversy.
They've been playing day baseball for 72 years in Wrigley Field. It's as much a part of the Cubs as is losing. But now both traditions may go by the wayside. Last year, the Cubs won their division title. And now a judge may rule that the laws forbidding night games are invalid. The owners want night games because it means a lot more money in television revenues. It is not a popular move with the ballpark's neighbors, who've been rallying against it for several years.
Well, I think it really is have a disruptive impact on the neighborhood.
The traffic, the littering, the problems, there just isn't adequate parking anywhere.
Wrigley is the only major league stadium so closely surrounded by private housing, with no nearby expressways and no large parking lots. This is a quiet place when there isn't a ball game. Oh, but how just one game can change that. The people who live here say night games will mean a nightmare for the neighborhood, that they'll draw even bigger crowds than day games because fans won't have to miss work to attend them. Especially if the Cubs continue to play as well as they are in sunny Arizona, though last Friday they played the only night game on their spring schedule and lost it. Mary Nissenson, NBC News, Chicago.
John, that's a good argument not to play night baseball in Chicago.
Okay, Bob, thanks. It's now 7 minutes after the hour, and Willard Scott has joined us for the weather forecast, the look ahead for the first full week of springtime.
And you got back from Palm Springs, and you'd never been, and you loved it and adored it, right?
It was nice. I must say, I like that dry air and that lovely sunshine.
That's right. And a few bucks here, but just shows you what a little money will do, right?
A little water in the desert.
I was out in Los Angeles. Marina Del Rey opened its boating season this year. I was out there. Vinny, you would have loved that. I was sailing out there in the Pacific. We were doing some taping out there, so I was working. Brian always makes it look like I'm going out to play and have fun.
Of course you never play.
No, I hustle. Go, man. Listen, I'm 37 years old. I've only got another week to make my nut. Let's check the act and see what we have here. I'll tell you, the place to go today is Texas. If you want to stay warm, it is beautiful. As a matter of fact, it is warm and delightful all the way up through Nebraska. Wichita Falls, 82. Midland, Odessa, 84. Del Rio, where they used to have that radio station. Remember that, John, that 500,000-watt radio station? They sold 100 baby chicks for $2.98. They didn't guarantee there wasn't a rooster in there among them, but anyway, that was the old days. Look at that jet stream curving and twirling and dipping up and down. It is very, very warm. As far north, as I say, as Nebraska. Temperatures today will be in the 70s. Very few trouble spots, if any. Some lingering showers from the middle part of Virginia right down through South Carolina, and then that should clear up as the day wears on. Florida is excellent today. Miami is 82 and lovely. The Northeast will be windy and cool, about 15 degrees below normal, but it's lovely. It's been cloudy and rainy all weekend. That's going to get out of the way. I'm going to knock the rain here in the east. We needed rain desperately. We got a couple of good days of it in the mid-Atlantic states here in New York, just a little bit less than that. Nation's midsection is dynamite all the way up to Minneapolis, St. Paul, 47. Western states getting some snow. Montana, Idaho, the Cascades. This will be light stuff, but the Cascades of Washington, Oregon could get up to 6 additional inches. They had that much yesterday. And about 2 inches of rain along the west coast from Seattle down to San Francisco. And a little cloudy in La La Land, 68 degrees. And it won't be as pretty as it was when I was there this weekend, but it was beautiful. Hawaii having some showers, typical this time of the year. That's good. Here's what's happening in your world this morning.
Sydney mild, humid and 22 degrees. Brisbane showery, 28 degrees. Melbourne fine, 26. Adelaide fine and mild, 25 degrees.
Minnie Henderson lives down in Judsonia, Arkansas, John. She's 107 years old today. Her secret for a long life, a toddy every morning and every night, hard work, and white beans and ham. 7:09 is the time. I like that lady. Here's John.
I do too. Thanks, Willard. On Close-Up this morning, Lebanon. Increased tensions. They are reaching a crisis point. Muslim and Christian militiamen are involved once again in open warfare as Israel tries to pull out of Lebanon. Clashes between fundamentalist Shiites and the Israeli army have erupted. Lebanon rapidly reverting to a state of war like it suffered under, well, for the past 10 years or so. Let's go now to our NBC station in Cleveland, WKYC, where Maya Roseanne, Israel's ambassador to the United States, joins us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning, Joe.
There has been a good deal of criticism both within Israel and certainly in southern Lebanon and from elsewhere around the country about Israel's iron fist policy in southern Lebanon. Could you explain what the purpose of this is, why it was necessary?
I think that what Israel